way to actually recognise some of the work that they do with learners that isn't recognised in our formal inspection.
Well, I will think of that. Well, anyhow, we have worked in 3 different groups here, all with very high activity in the discussions, and we were enjoying ourselves with these different themes, not always addressing directly the questions, but we tried to, as much as possible, go into the 2 questions. The first one on the differences between quality assurance and quality development. And
we do our best. Okay. So
we have a European passport now since.
There are people calling us on Twitter. It's all being streamed out. You can follow everything during the day. This is probably the first time this kind of conference has been organized like this, to have thousands of people connecting with each other, and yet in this room there's only about 3 or 4 people and quite a few technicians trying to make it all work.
And now they just walk around all over and they do their own thing, or they talk with other people, and that's where a lot of informal interaction happens.
In these cases, I would say people go there knowing that they go there to learn. And I think it is actually very interesting to see how learning methods of a different nature are used. It's not teaching, but it's exchanging experience.
The whole idea of Second Life and social networking as a way of learning, as Claudio is saying, is quite interesting, I think. So not the specific learning opportunities within Second Life, but the actual learning potential for engaging in Second Life.
So I am facilitating teachers to learn new ways of integrate their skills they use normally when teaching. The methods, any teacher can apply his own method of teaching here in Second Life, but the important thing is that his method, teaching method, must be integrated with this new interactive environment. So every teacher has to rethink his way of teaching.
Okay, I see I see the outworld and I see the inworld now. Fine. Okay, now behind me you see a construction. It's a mind map, actually. In the center you find the agenda of this conference.
Wow.
And I branched out what this conference is all about. All of the items as a mind map.
And what other advantages does it have? Because I'm a 2D person. I like to think in 2D, and I would.
Yeah, it gives me navigation. It gives me navigation. I can point to the mind map and say, okay, we are navigating in the course right now at this point. Now, a lot of courses I visited, the avatars would stand around, and the trainer would stand around, and they would talk and they would chat. And then people would lose track of where they are in the course.
Okay.
Now here I can define the course, and I can refer to a certain node, and I can get people back on track so they are navigated in the course.
So you can set up a course in which the students has to make some steps and are engaged in these steps by the 3D visualization.
I think there's lots of possibility. The question I think that still everyone is focusing on is how, in this informal environment, can you ensure quality and how do you, it's very easy to measure formal education, but sometimes unintentional learning is the most valuable learning, and how can we encourage and develop the quality of those situations where unintentional learning can happen. And I think that one of the things that Second Life seems to have a lot of potential for is for unintentional learning. It's like a playground where people learn things and they don't realize, didn't intend to come to learn something, they came to play.
With learners that isn't recognised in our future.
We've been really pleased to be part of this project because there's nothing more important to us than ensuring that adult learners have a good quality of experience. It's been great to work with people from so many other countries and learn from your experiences. And what we hope is that today's conference will bring all of those experiences together so we can actually consolidate our understanding and decide what the right way forward is in the interests of adult learners. I'm off to the office on my bike. See you later. People must have the right information about their learning before they start. So pre-course information is absolutely crucial, and good advice so that people start on the right track. The teaching's got to be second to none. Teachers have got to understand the learning process, and they've got to empathise with their learner. I can't emphasise that enough. So the environment's got to be right as well. We've got to have a place which is conducive for learning. That's not quite the same as extremely luxurious, but people have got to feel comfortable, and they've got to have the resources that they need.
Could you give us a little bit of information about your workshop today? What were some of the key questions or themes or ideas that you came up with?
Quite a lot of our voluntary and community organisations felt that this would be a terrific way to actually recognise some of the work that they do with learners that isn't recognised in our formal inspection through accredited means, through our formal structured inspection.
Okay.
And that they felt would be of great value. They also felt that it was very positive for possibly for those local government adult learning providers who work for the local government, yes, and who then contract out some of the adult learning work to smaller organisations. It would be a way for them to be able to make a judgment if these smaller organisations had a quality mark, that there was good quality processes and good quality teaching and learning happening within those contracted out providers. So that was the second thing that they felt was quite positive.
Okay.
And the other thing that they also felt was that that whatever happens, if we do decide to mainstream this and to begin to have it across Europe, where does it fit in with all the other European initiatives around this? For example, the EFQM, Foundation for Quality Management, and other European initiatives that are looking at frameworks for assurance. So I think there were some questions there and some issues which we might want to put to the panel to address later on.
All people here in the Italian workshop recognize the European Adult Learning Network a useful tool for improving bottom-up discussion among all participants, learner, organization, staff and community. Starting this network could be a useful tool if all participants start on discussing about organization values and ethical professional values. I mean, these two main topics could collect the interest of a lot of people involved in adult learning. Another thing is we consider important to have an animator in this kind of network, because it's important to animate and to have a sort of translation in order to make able all participants to understand each other in different national terminologies and contexts. But quality needs to be beside the same certification of competence. when you check, when you have a certification of competence, you can certificate competence if you have a good quality process of learning.
Certification is different from a quality certification.
Yeah.
Adult learning in an informal and non-formal space will be put on the same level as learning that can take place in the workplace, so that if someone who's jobless, for instance, follow a course at an adult learning center, he can have a certificate that he can show a prospective employer. Look, this is what I can do.
Same discussion is for professional competence and social and personal competence as well.
So, Sweden, are you there?
You need anyhow some kind of feedback from measuring or from self-assessments, from peer groups or whatever. You need input on your activities as such to get this development. You have that as a base, you could say.
Right.
Anyhow, the trend very much in this area of Europe is to focus on development more than assurance, even if we see these two interlinked. One of the groups also, when they were discussing students' learning, also pointed out the problems that formal aspects of learning is not at all especially complicated, but when you come to informal learning and the evaluation processes around that, it is quite complex, of course. So these were very much what we were talking about when it came to quality development and quality assurance.
Keep listening, and we'll go on to Germany.
The second statement is the hedgehog metaphor, and this metaphor even makes sense now in winter, because the original story behind it is that there once were a lot of hedgehogs, and when it was getting cold, they said, "Ooh, we're freezing, we need to get closer together." And they got very close together, and then their spikes were picking each other. So they went off again, and then they were freezing again, so they had to come closer again, and in the end they found a distance which was more or less heating them a little bit, but they didn't pick each other with their spikes. And people from our participants said that it's certainly easier for adult learning centers from different geographic areas to create a network than for the ALCs working and competing in the same geographical area. So it would be a little bit like if the network would be composed of ALCs from the same region competing for the learner, it would be a little bit like giving advice to your opponent. So it's easier to have a network of ALCs for Europe, but with participants from different regions.
Okay, and now we do have the statements from Romania. The diversity of the existing national certification frameworks are the main barrier for promoting and implementing a European-wide quality approach label.
I believe in the power of networks, especially when the social networks. I believe that you can sustain each other and you can learn from each other, and you can fall back on each other.
For me, this day I have learned a lot about difficulties to organize such an event with so much high-tech and different medias.
I think I'm very excited because it's like a cinema on the cinema. We are talking about adult learning, and we are adults learning today how we can organize a debate internationally, bring home each of us something we have learned about the subject, about the use of technology, about how to interact in such an environment.
Okay, well I think it's worth giving Rolf and the whole team here. Well done. And it has been very exciting to be part of this historic event, don't you think? We can tell our grandchildren about this.
And we need to thank you as well for